another video. Yay! This is not going to be like bad fanfiction reading, because in bad fanfiction I tend to be a bit more comedic, a bit more obviously going to be comedic in this one as well, due to the subject matter and stuff like that. But in that one I'm kind of a bit more mean for comedic value. Usually if it's an infamously bad fanfic, I'm usually a bit more kind of nasty, or a bit more harsher just for comedic value. But in bizarre fanfiction reading, I'm not going to be as, you know, horrible, because a lot of the fanfics I'm going to read, I actually like a lot of them. So yeah. We're gonna read one. This is my first one, and I was looking for a really, you know, a fanfic that stuck out for me. So I went to a writer who I know writes really good weird fanfiction, and that's Konata101. Now, I used to love Italia. I used to be absolutely fucking up the wall with Italia. I have an Italia poster. I used to love Italia. My username was Grimdark. You can actually look that up and find some of my old fanfiction. And I used to write a lot, and I used to write bizarre fan. Well, it wasn't really bizarre. It was more darky kind of fanfiction. A lot of people. I mean, a lot of people did like my dark, like, fanfiction and stuff like that. So this is this is a writer who really sticks out to me as the one who writes bizarre fanfiction. For a bit about the author. Obviously I don't know the author personally. We actually had a brief speaking, because I asked her if I could read her fanfic online and then post it to YouTube, and she gave me the big thumbs up for that. She also recommended a fanfic to me, which I'll have to ask, but hopefully that'll be the next episode, because that one did sound weird. I haven't actually read it yet, but I might not read it, you know, just so the reactions and stuff like that are real, you know, because I don't really like scripting stuff like readings, because you need the reactions to be like natural, and I'm not trying to force a reaction out of myself that because it looks fake. So yeah, Konata101, just a bit about her fanfiction in general. She's a Italia writer. I think she also writes for Attack on Titans as well. I might be wrong. I'm actually just going to quickly go on her channel. Yeah, Attack on Titans, she wrote one fanfic for Attack on Titans, but mostly on her archive of her own page, it's Italia. When people speak about Konata101, they usually talk about fanfics such as Taco Hell, which is actually one of my least favourite fanfics, mainly just because I don't do well with stuff like that, and I'm not a big US UK kind of person. Don't judge me. We also speak about Le Poulette, which is a really bizarre fanfic, in a way that America and England pull a prank on France. Basically, they give him soda, make him piss himself in a world meeting. So France gets them back by doing weird things with eggs. You should totally look out yourself. It's a little bit weird and stuff. Also, people speak about economic flush out, which is, I don't really like that fanfic. Also because I feel like it was long and I couldn't read all of it. I had to give up. It's just it's kind of weird, because this fanfic I'm about to read does have scat in it, but I don't do well with scat, especially if it goes on for a long time. That's all I really need to say right now. Anyway, this fanfic is called America Goes to McDonald's and Never Comes Back. Basically, have you seen the fucking Happy Meal boxes, the new mascots? They're fucking terrifying. So, this lovely writer obviously found the opportunity to write a fanfic The good thing about Konata101 fanfics is they're very dark subject matters, but she takes them and has her own little comedic twist to them. The one way you can describe her fanfiction is everything is black comedy. You know, rape is obviously very bad, but there's obviously that weird comedic, dark, you know, obviously black comedy kind of style to it. I may be looking way too deeply into this, but that's what I see. I see black comedy and at its finest. A lot of her fanfics are not meant to be taken seriously. Seriously, if we all took America Goes to McDonald's and never comes back seriously, we would actually all never go to McDonald's again. She's written some serious fanfiction. A lot of the longer stuff I've not really had the chance to read. I did read My Dad the Porn Star. Was it that? Yeah, it was My Dad the Porn Star, which I actually pretty much liked, and I don't actually know, because I haven't been, you know, obviously I'm not a big Italia fan as I used to be, so I haven't been keeping up. But every now and then I like to go back and, you know, read readers. Anyway, what am I rambling about? You're here for the fanfic. We are going to read this fanfic now. I'm not going to do the what I didn't like beforehand, because I'm not going to actually do a proper critique, because I'm not a writer. Well, I'm not a writer, I'm not a critic. I don't actually know how to critique something. Usually when I enjoy something, it's usually due to plot, characterization, and grammar. For instance, Special Truths, didn't like the plot, didn't like characterization, didn't like the grammar. Wait, yeah, no, the grammar was okay actually. So, you know, obviously I didn't quite like that fanfic. Whereas in this one, obviously fanfics are really well written for the kind of subject matter and stuff like that. So I'm not really going to do that much of a critique. I'm just going to read and ramble. That's basically my thing. So let's get on to the fanfic. So I should probably speak about warnings before we actually move on with this. Basically, there is, as it said, I'll read the summary because it's got the warnings as well. America thought it would just be a normal lunch on at McDonald's, but he was wrong. Dead wrong. Happy Meals X America. Dub con, gang rape, force feeding, misuse of food, male lactation, scat, guru, and character death. How lovely. Okay. I'll probably do the voices as well now that it's actually something that I can do voices for. Right. This was creepy. Really creepy. It was about 11:45 last he checked, almost lunchtime. America knew McDonald's should be damn packed right now. He thought it was just a fluke the drive-thru was totally empty. Kinda weird, but not completely unbelievable. But once he got inside the restaurant, there wasn't a customer in sight. No, not only that, absolutely no employees on duty either. At first, the fast food junkie tried to reassure himself it was probably just a slow day, and the cashier would come out of the kitchen in a little bit to take his order. But he waited and waited, even shouting at anyone there in the kitchen. Absolutely no one showed up. It wasn't a holiday, as far as he remembered, and his government suddenly issued a new one that gave workers take the day off. Well, he'd be the first one, if not the first one to know about it. Heck, he had the proof it wasn't a holiday. As he drove here, America saw plenty of restaurants and businesses with people going in and out. Still, all signs pointed to a McDonald's being closed. Maybe it's renovations. But if that was the case, where were the construction workers? And why were the doors still open to the public? Nothing was adding up. The Americans started to get a bad feeling about all this. But hey, it was kind of exciting too. A big mystery completely overlooked by the cops, just itching to be solved. Now was his chance to be the local hero. And if there really wasn't any employees on duty, that meant he had free reign to explore the kitchen. Right? Right. But his conscience was urging him not to do that. So, if this case of the empty McDonald's situation ended up not being a big deal and he was caught fiddling around in the kitchen, he'd probably get interrogated to hell and back. Instead, he decided to investigate the restrooms first. Maybe the employees were hiding in there. Hiding? No, he wasn't shivering. He just walked under a air vent. That's all. That's another thing that was really weird about this whole mess. The lights and the air conditioning were on. They'd be turned off if McDonald's was closed, right? So maybe that meant before he got here, it was open. Then something happened, which would have caused the employees and restaurant goers to evacuate the place. He shook his head, trying to get those thoughts out of his brain. It didn't make sense. If something like that did happen, like a kitchen fire or a shooting, the building would be completely surrounded by police and fire department. He wouldn't have got entry at all either. I can't leave now, America thought to himself, opening the men's restroom. Even if the situation to this puzzle turned out to be something really stupid and mundane, he would wanted to try and solve it as much as he could. He checked every stall but the men's restroom, completely devoid of people, didn't provide any clues. Likewise, he couldn't determine anything from the women's room either, other than the fact that girls were really, really fucking gross. Seriously, there was damp toilet paper all over over the floor of one of the stalls. Well, maybe that could have meant something. Who knows? He had absolutely no clue, and was starting to get a little frustrated. He wanted to solve this mystery himself, but his urge to call the cops suddenly is growing by the minute. The kitchen. Throwing caution into the wind, America headed out of the women's restroom, past the dining area, and back to the counter, just to parkour over it, when he saw something sitting on the counter. It wasn't there before. He was sure of it. It must have been placed there while he was checking the restrooms. It was a Happy Box meal. It was completely red too. America didn't usually order Happy Meals unless the toy promo was something really awesome. But weren't they more colourful than this? Like decorated with whatever series or movie they were promoting. Oh God. No, it wasn't something completely nondescript. He didn't even look closely enough. The box had eyes on top of it, right underneath the golden arches handle. Big, bulging, hyper-realistic, with blue pupils. In the middle of its body, was a mouth, a huge grinning maw. Its lips looked like real flesh, and as for its teeth, it looked like it had human teeth shoved inside of its gums. Happy Meal boxes are fucking terrifying. I realise I haven't rambled this much. I'm taking this really seriously, and I've kind of ruined that now, but when it gets into the really disturbing stuff, I'm probably going to completely go off it. It's going to be worse than a special truce. Okay, nothing's worse than a special truce. Although America's heart skipped more than a few beats after the initial shock of seeing the thing, he couldn't help but laugh nervously. That's one fucked up promo. He snorted, slamming his hand on the countertop. Okay, you got me. He moved on to the kitchen behind the counter, waiting for an employee to yell out and to come out and yell, "Surprise!" Something, anything. But they never came. Maybe they were afraid of America. Alfred, as he was known in these parts, would strangle them. It couldn't be that there was nobody here. Someone had to put that freaky box on the counter. America looked at the Afromonic. I'm not gonna say that. Happy Meal box again, barely resisting the urge to vomit. Seriously, it looked like eyes and mouth were made out of real human parts. He wanted to touch it to prove himself wrong, but every time he reached his hand towards it, he pussied out at the last second. Whoa! Wait a minute. Did that thing just get closer to him when he wasn't looking? No. No way. It was probably just the anxiety getting to him. This was all a practical joke. If he stuck around a while longer, an employee will come out and give him a free Big Mac or something as part of their new marketing scheme. Fuck that. America turned at his heel and ran to the door, but just before he could exit, something jumped from the ceiling, kicking him to the ground. His glasses were shattered. Fuck. He barely caught a glance of the thing that got him before a hamburger wrapper was forced pressed into his mouth and nose. This is getting interesting. It didn't smell like a hamburger. Judging by the arms and legs suddenly feeling like they were made out of putty, it must have been some kind of rape drug. Okay, alright, this was seriously one fucked up McDonald's promo. Weakly, he rolled over to his back. It was all he could do. With his strength totally sapped, his vision was suddenly filled with red, blobbish things. Blood? Was there any blood in his eye? Sure, he was a Asian and could take a few more hits than a human, but even then, something like that would hurt like a bitch. That's when he realised it. Them. They were surrounding him. Happy Meals everywhere, just like the one he saw on the counter. Each box, which gathered around his body, had the same eyes, same mouth, same teeth. Only difference from the one he saw was that these boxes had arms and legs. Capable of movement. Capable of harm. He could only conclude one thing. These Happy Meal boxes were alive. Please wake up, please wake up, please wake up, please wake up. America chanted to himself, his nails clawing on the ground. If this wasn't real, he could fall through the ground, escape, and wake up in his bed, and everything would be alright. Please God, no. Don't do this to me. He could feel the sensations in his nails chipping. This wasn't a nightmare. One of the Happy Meal boxes stepped towards him. Its eyes would occasionally blink, although a disgusting grin on its mug never changed or anything. It didn't even twitch. It climbed onto America's stomach, walking up his chest. Sweet baby Jesus. It was like a bowling ball rolling on his body. Despite looking like it was made of cardboard, like a real Happy Meal box, the creature was undeniably biotic? Something like that. Or was it? Before America's eyes, it opened itself, just like one would open a real Happy Box meal, yet autonomously. He peered inside. Instead of emptiness, perhaps a small hamburger, fries, and a toy, within the Happy Box's body was a pulsating, bleeding gob of intestines, like organs. America didn't know what else he expected. But he definitely wasn't expecting the Happy Meal to reach inside his body with a disgustingly wet squelch and retrieve a large box of fries. America was assuming that the red liquid coating the fries wasn't ketchup. Before America could do anything, a yell for help, try to sit up, punch the Happy Meal on his chest, anything. It shoved the box of fries into its mouth, the entire fries box included. America's heart felt like it totally stopped. And nope, it wasn't because of the 500 calories. Did they seriously looked like He looked at the Happy Meal box with pleading, tearful eyes. It hurt. The salt was burning his throat and he felt like he was going to cry. A living Happy Meal was forcing him to fucking blowjob a fucking large fry. Kill me, please. Maybe he was scared them off. With a deep inhale through his nostrils, he forced out the most wretched, muffled shriek he could, vibrating the box of fries. Didn't do jack, well other than give the Happy Meal an amusing little sight to smirk at. The Happy Meal box, holding the fries, started to push it further down America's gullet, stretching the man's lips to a point where tears of agony were dripping down his chubby, freckled cheeks. Was it possible for lips to stretch so much they snap? With his sexual partners, he often joked about his gag reflexes, his lack of gag reflexes, thanks to his eating contester fried nomming skills. But he never thought it'd be so literal. He was actually at the point where he was struggling to breathe around the box stuffed in his throat. Please take it out, he begged, but it sounded more like he could feel some fries start to tip out of the box and slide down his throat. It burned. And then, oh god, the Happy Box meal had the nerve to pinch his nose, completely cutting off his oxygen supply. Did they want him to spit or swallow? Spit or swallow? With a weak and desperate cry, desperate to breathe again, America let out his skull conk against the floor and swallowed the box of fries. Cardboard and all. Felt like a knife getting shoved down his esophagus? I guess, I don't know. Once it landed in his stomach, the heartburn immediately kicked in. Please, he panted out weakly, reaching out for the Happy Meal box sitting on his chest. You guys had enough yet? He knew they could hear. He knew they were sentient. He prayed they had a sense of mortality. In the moment, all his hopes were snatched out of his hand, shat on, and tossed down the shitter. The Happy Meals were upon him. The garments of America were cancelled equally. Translation error, said the America in surprise. And there he was. He was completely nude, his clothing torn apart. He was forced to a position ass up, face down, on the McDonald's floor. The Happy Meal surrounded him, staring, thinking of what to do next. Even they didn't have the capability to think, or were they acting on pure instinct? He heard footsteps behind him, twisting his neck. Oh, I just read ahead. Oh no! Oh. Twisting his neck, he looked behind himself, catching a glance of a Happy Box meal. A Happy Box meal. I used to keep saying Happy Box meal. And it's Happy Meal box. If I say Happy Box meal, you know what I mean. Holding a cup of coffee in his hand, in his white glove-like hand, it removed the lid and slowly began to tilt the cup towards his ass. America wasn't going to lie here and take it. With a shaky grunt, he got up on his knees and just about made a mad dash out of here, totally not giving a shit if he were stripped bare. He needed to get out of here. Now. Well, he would have done that if a pair of Happy Meals didn't grab his wrist and fucking snap his bones like they were a pair of pretzels. Ah! Until the pain died out, and God knows how long that'd take, he was going nowhere fast. Like a dollop of vomit, atop a shit Sunday. I like that little imagery there. That was a good one. America's agony was perfectly complemented by a sensation of steaming hot coffee and whipped cream getting poured down his ass cheeks. Ah! His cheeks collapsed against the cold floor, giving him just a moment of relief from the burning sensation searing down his nervous system, especially in his ass. He was never going to McDonald's again. Oh, America felt something pushing at his lip. Oh no, not this shit again. But this time it was a penis. A real, fleshy human penis. It was attached to the Happy Meal box. The Happy Meal box's crotch? Yeah, let's go with that. America looked around. All the Happy Meals had spontaneously sported gigantic veiny dongs. He was as good as fucked. I like that one there. God no. If he could move his arms, he would have burnt his face. He would have buried his face in them. Also, all he could do now was feel their hungry eyes upon him, creeping closer and closer, their wieners dangling disgustingly as he stepped in his nude, helpless body. He was their Happy Meal. You get it? It was a little easier for him to take the supersized ding-a-ling after swallowing an entire box of fries, but his throat still felt like was scraped up from the outside in. 2 dicks, 2 gigantic dicks, were stuffed off his poop hole. He was actually getting gang raped by fucking Happy Meal boxes. As a nation, America had been through a lot of shit he simply can't move past. Revolutions, rebellion, crimes, wars, all this. Oh man, this has to be one of the worst shit he's ever dealt with. Hands down. He could feel something leaking into his ass, coming from the pair of sex sausages, ravaging his slutty boy cunt. Free cum? Sure. Fine. Okay. Not like he had anything to lose by assuming the Happy Meal boxes could ejaculate. Every time they pulled out and thrust it back in, it sounded like he was farting. Squelch, squelch, squelch. He could feel their hands upon his trembling, heated body, squeezing, rubbing, groping, especially down around his scalded ass, his pulsating baby pink Florida. America the Beautiful was reduced to a sobbing, trembling mess, gazed upon the featureless McDonald's ceiling and praying with all his might that some all-powerful entity out there would have mercy on him. Despite the pain that plagued him, his burns, his broken wrists, his torn asshole, his cramping stomach, trying to digest a glob of fries and cardboard, the pressure of the 2 McDicks upon his prostate were too much for him to bear, and it wasn't long until a pair of Happy Meal boxes DPing him brought him to his orgasm. His strands of cum mixing in with the lukewarm coffee pooled around his legs. He let out a pathetic wail around the phallus he was blowjobbing, his cheeks practically stained with his own tears. If the Happy Meal hadn't pulled out right then, America would have likely had passed out from hyperventilation. It was so tense. Then he felt it. As soon as the Happy Meal climaxed onto his face, America could taste something strange, strong, salty, kinda like relish. He brought a limp-wristed hand towards his cheeks, wanted to confirm his suspicions, just as he feared. Special sauce. He could feel them ejaculate the sauce onto his asshole. That's fucking disgusting, no! He pulled out, and America looked behind him at his ruined ass. It was leaking with a mixture of blood and an orangey pink sauce. With little chunks of green yellowish, and was blending with the coffee to create a most ungodly sight to behold. And then, Jesus fucking Christ, he could feel their tongues lapping up the mess sputtering from his ass. The coffee, the sauce, his cum. America crashed his face against the ground, breaking his nose, but he didn't care. Their tongues, those Happy Meals, they felt so warm, so wet, so hyper-realistic. No, could it get any worse? Really, honestly, Oh, wait a gosh darned second. America released a startled squeal as feeling a pang coursing through his chest. It was different than the heartburn and more concentrated in his nipples. Oh god, motherfuck. It was really hurt. It was starting to really hurt now. The Happy Meals were staring at him. They knew he wanted to grab at his chest area, rub it, anything to quell the pang. They knew that he couldn't do much with a broken wrist. So, in a show of mercy, they decided to do the massaging for him. The pair of Happy Meals behind him grabbed onto America's hips and pulled him into the kneeling position. The movement was so sudden. America was immediately hit by a surge of nausea, but fortunately was able to swallow the vomit, still burned in his throat anyways. He started to grow his crayons. America glanced down at his chest, unable to do anything but let the Happy Meals twerk his nipples. Oh lordy lord, why did his pecs get so swollen, like a pair of motherfucking sea cups? And he felt cold. Did the special sausages do this to him? He remembered how everyone would bitch at him, constantly. Stop eating McDonald's. I thought you wanted to lose weight, American. Do you realize how much hormone? Fuck the accents. You realize how much hormones are in that shite? You bleeding wanker. America, you grow knockers bigger than Ukraine's if you not stop. Fuck you, Russia. He could feel things bouncing inside his breast. Happy Meals had been massaging him, milking him, and coaxing the clumpy white liquid to drip from his nipple. It smelled like melted, oh no, vanilla ice cream, but something was blocking the flow. Please, America gasped, grabbing onto the Happy Meals with as much strength as his injured hand would allow. It hurts, not so hard, please. His nipple slits dilated, desperately trying to force out whatever it was stuck inside his mammary glands. The Happy Meal simply ignores America's pleas, eerily silent as ever. They kept running, squeezing, grinning, seeing how much their cow could squirt out. Splurt. America screamed as something solid came out. He was so distracted by the surge of relief that he didn't bother to see what it was, but eventually he glanced down at his lap and nearly had a heart attack. It was a blue M&M. I don't even think that's possible, but I'm not going to question it. It's not worth it. He could feel them now. M&Ms were inside his breast. So it wasn't milk his breasts were spurting out. It was an M&M McFlurry. Nice. America couldn't take it anymore. He wanted to claw off his nipples, his breast tissue bleed out, everything, just to escape the agony. I can't take it. I want to die. And a Happy Meal walked up behind him, knocking him onto his knees again. This wasn't enough for them. Oh no. Together they cooperated, manhandling the poor beast nation, rolling him onto his back, completely exposing his everything to them, especially his erection. He couldn't do anything to stop them. Nothing. Please, it hurts, still hurts. Don't stop. With his weakened arm, he covered his pair of McFlurry-filled breasts. The pressure ached, but he wanted to preserve whatever crumb of modesty he still had. A Happy Meal was pushing something inside his asshole. America immediately glanced down to his lions. It wasn't a dick. He was sure of that. Way too small. And those McDongs were anything but chicken nuggets. It was shoving chicken nuggets up his anus. America nearly choked as another Happy Meal stuffed a Big Mac down his throat, silencing the whore. Again. Well, on the bright side, it wasn't in its fucking box. He pleaded, roughly translating to take them out. What horrible, depressing waste of McNuggets. It wasn't like he was ever going to eat them after getting them shoved up his anal cavity. Right. Right. He bit down on the Big Mac, swallowed the other half. His asparagus? I don't even know. Was cleared out just in time for him to scream as a Happy Meal shoved its porker into his cab, and this boy cunt. How many McNuggets was that? Felt like 10. Felt like a 10-piece. Tell me! America screeched, gazing into his rapist ocean-tinted hues. Although the Happy Meal kept thrusting, pounding the stuffed nuggets until they were nothing more than mush, it seemed to be listening to the poor forsaken nation's monologue. I'm a loyal customer, not just at this McDee's, but around my country, around the world. And you do this to me? What the ever-loving fuck did I do to get this treatment? No, seriously, tell me. He would have grabbed onto the Happy Meal box if he could. Unfortunately, he was splayed on the floor like a lab specimen. What have I done? Did I piss off some employee? Something like that. I'm sorry, and I'll atone for it, just please, not like this. The Happy Meal box kept thrusting until eventually, reaching its grubby hand around to fondle America's weenie, the other kept squeezing his frozen irritated breast. With America on his back, they were essentially fighting against gravity. Every time an M&M was completely squeezed out, it would get stuck right back into his nipple. Oh, that's gross. That's really, really fucking gross. America was out of breath. He said all he wanted to say, all he could say, and that was that. Didn't accomplish anything, but that's how life works sometimes. He bucked his hip forward, completely unable to stop himself from giving the Happy Meal trip pleasure. It wasn't long until he squatted his mayonnaise, feeling the painful pleasure of tingle throughout his body. Shortly after, the Happy Meal box filled his innards with a deliciously tangy special sauce, completely coating them. No. No. Completely coating the mashed up chicken nuggets. As soon as the box pulled out, America let out a shaky grunt, his mayonnaise completely evacuating its content. A flood of special sauce flavored McMush splurted out, spurting all over the walls nearby, all over the floor and nearby walls. It was brown tinted too, making a flood of rich, frothy diarrhea. It was salty, it was stinky, it was beautiful. Oh, that felt good. His head corked against the floor. He was completely exhausted. It wasn't long until his vision faded to black. The Happy Meals gathered round. One of them grinned at the others and started to chuckle, prodding America's juicy McFlurry stuffed breast. It is time. With their glove-like claws, a couple of boxes grabbed into America's ankles, while another group divided itself into two. Held onto the broken wrist, they carried him away, leaving his mess to stain the floor. America woke up quite some time later. His skin was hot, clammy, his head was pounding, and he was on the floor of some kitchen. No. Hold. It looked way too familiar. Was this the McDonald's kitchen? What? America tried to sit up, but he felt like his body was pinned to the floor, as if there was something seated upon his chest weighing him down. It was squirming. It felt like a square block lodged inside his fucking chest. Before he could tilt his head to get a closer look at the source of the pain, his body began to spasm. Something shattered his ribcage, erupting from his heart in a gorgeous fuck you. A shower of blood and plasma. Splutter. His boy's innards were already starting to attract flies. America could feel his life slipping away from him. His vision was clouded with white. He knew it was the end of the line for him. He knew. The last thing he ever saw, the thing that he gave birth to, who stole his life away, a fucking Happy Meal box. Police are completely stumped over what they can assume to be a bizarre mass murder at local McDonald's. Photographs of the fast food joint flashed on the screen for a few moments before returning to the blonde, big-bosomed newscaster. A total of 8 bodies were discovered, 3 of which were identified as employees of that particular restaurant. She continued. 4 of the victims were male, 3 female, and 1 of indeterminate sex. The causes are unknown, but each body shared one trait in common: a gaping hole in the middle of their torso. It's a mystery. But now just then, an older man walked on screen, interrupting the female newscaster. His face was flooded with tears. He whispered something into his ear, and whatever it said, she began to have a panic attack over it. Viewers were forced to watch this scene for a good and a half few minutes. When she finally calmed down, but only slightly, she spoke up. Her voice was different now, weary, shaky. We've just received news that sudden, unforeseen fire has completely destroyed the White House. Okay, that was America Goes to McDonald's and Never Comes Back. Thank you so much, Konata101, for giving me permission to do this fic. I could have easily have not asked. I always like to ask if for fanfiction like this, if it's like infamous fanfiction that gets reviewed all the time, then I tend not to ask, you know, because it's, what's the point of me getting, what's the chances of me getting Tara, the girl who wrote My Immortal, to say yes? That fanfic was weird. There's not really much to say. It's I love her fanfiction because it's bizarre and it's not anything that you should take seriously. It's funny. Despite the as I said, it's black comedy. Despite the subject matter, it's very, very funny. It does make you cringe a lot, and it's so weird. She recommended her friend's fanfic to me when I asked her, so I will actually ask before I go and do that. I haven't actually read the fanfic she recommended to me. I'm gonna not read it until I actually do the reading. I only half read read this fanfic. Mainly because I like my I kind of like the reactions to be kind of, you know, real, like yeah. And during the recording of this, my camera kind of fucked up, so that's why I changed clothes during it. My hair looks better in the second half because I had a shower when I was waiting for my camera to stop being a bitch. So that's bizarre fanfic. That's a bizarre fanfic. I don't really have much to say. There's not really much I can say. There's not much I can really say. If you've got any really, really weird fanfiction, it doesn't have to be bad. It can be really good. But if you've got any weird fanfiction, do not hesitate to leave a comment. Tell me what it is, because I love weird fanfiction. I love reading them, and yeah, that's all I've got to say. I gotta say I love you. Bye bye.